Ronan Hale was not a soldier anymore. He was not even a diplomat by choice. He had once flown fighter ships during the Battle of Mars, had earned medals and scars. But now, he wore a clean uniform, shook hands with aliens, and smiled for cameras. He liked peace more than glory these days. When the Earth Alliance chose him as the ambassador to the Zinthari Empire, he thought it was a mistake. The Zinthari were ancient, powerful, and very strange. They didn't talk much with humans. They didn't trust them. But now, they had invited Earth to a special diplomatic meeting on their royal moon, Lear-Shatai. Ronan arrived with a team of aides and scientists. The moon looked like a pearl in space, white, glowing softly, with towers that floated above, crystal lakes. The Zinthari guards were tall, silver-skinned, and moved like smoke. They said very little but treated Ronan with great care. Everything was quiet, respectful, too respectful. After the first day of formal greetings, Ronan was escorted to a tall black tower in the heart of the capital. The guards spoke in calm, deep voices. "The Queen wishes to meet you, alone." Ronan frowned. That was not standard protocol. Usually, first meetings happened with witnesses, cameras, and translators, but he was trained for surprises. He nodded. "All right, lead the way." Inside the tower there was no light, only a soft glow from the floor. Strange music played from hidden walls. Ronan was guided into a circular room filled with mist. He couldn't see more than a few steps ahead. Then she appeared, the Queen of the Zinthari. She was tall, at least 12 feet. Her body was partly transparent, with veins of blue light flowing beneath her smooth skin. Her eyes were like twin moons. Her voice was not loud, but it echoed inside his chest. "Ronan Hale," she said, tilting her head slightly. "You came." Ronan stood straight, doing his best not to look confused. "Yes, Your Majesty. I'm honored to be here." The Queen circled him slowly, studying him like a curious scientist. "You fought in wars," she said softly. "You have killed." Ronan didn't deny it. "Yes, I've also helped rebuild, and I'm here to make peace." The Queen stopped, in front of him. Her large silver eyes stared into his. Then, in a voice that shook the air, she asked, "Would you marry someone like me, human?" Ronan blinked. For a second he thought he had misheard. The room was quiet. The question hung in the air like a bomb. I'm sorry?" he asked carefully. "Could you repeat that?" The Queen stepped closer, lowering her voice. "It is not a joke nor a trap, I ask honestly. Would you marry someone like me?" Ronan tried to think fast. Was this a test? A cultural trick? Some Zinthari custom he didn't understand? "I don't know what to say," he admitted. "Then say the truth," the Queen said. "You humans are famous for it." Ronan laughed nervously. "We're also famous for lying, Your Majesty." The Queen gave what might have been a smile. It was hard to tell. "You're brave, Ronan Hale. I like that." He took a deep breath. "With respect, why would someone like you ask someone like me to marry? You don't even know me." The Queen looked away, her glowing fingers touching the mist. "My empire is old. My rule is fragile. There is an ancient law, forgotten by most, that says if the Queen joins with a warrior from a wandering world, her rule will become unshakable. Most think it is just legend." "But you believe it?" Ronan asked. "I believe in possibilities," she replied. "And I see something in you. You are not like the others who came before. You are not afraid." "Oh, I'm afraid," Ronan said honestly. "But I'm good at hiding it." The Queen let out a sound, half laugh, half song. "Then that makes two of us." There was silence again. Ronan's mind raced. He had been trained for war, peace, politics, but not proposals, especially not from glowing alien queens. "You must think about it," she said at last. "This is not a light thing. You will not be my pet or puppet. You would be my equal." And if I say no? Ronan asked. Then you say no. I will not force you. I do not want a slave. I want a partner. That surprised him more than anything else. He looked around the misty room, then back at the tall, elegant being in front of him. This was not a trap. Not a joke. It was something else. You're serious, he whispered. Very, the queen replied. A soft chime rang through the room, a sign that time was up. Think on it, human, the queen said as she faded back into the mist. The fate of more than one world may rest on your answer. Ronan walked out of the tower with a storm in his mind. Outside, stars shone calmly above the pearl-white moon, but inside him everything was spinning. He had come here as a diplomat. Now he was being asked to become a king, or something like it. And somewhere, deep inside, a small voice whispered, "What if you said yes?" He sat by the wide glass window of his guest chamber, staring at the stars. The moon of Lirshtai was quiet, beautiful, and full of secrets. Somewhere in the royal tower, the Zinthari queen, 12 feet tall, glowing, ancient, had just asked him to marry her. No, not just marry. She had asked for something more than romance. She had asked him to stand beside her, to share power, to become part of a legend. Ronan had faced space pirates, warlords, and diplomatic standoffs before, but nothing prepared him for this. He sighed and turned to his personal AI tablet. He recorded a private log. Day 2. The queen proposed marriage, not sure if it's political, spiritual, or just a weird alien custom, but she seemed sincere. More sincere than most humans I've dealt with. And that scares me a little. The next day, Ronan was invited again to the palace, but this time not alone. He was taken to a chamber with a massive table. On one side, sat Zinthari nobles in tall robes, their skin shimmering in soft blue light. On the other side sat his own team, Dr. Leon, a cultural analyst, Captain Juno, his security head, and Thomas, a translator bot specialist. The queen entered last. When she appeared, everyone stood. Her presence filled the room like a wave of calm thunder. "We will explain," she said, her voice echoing gently, "so the human may understand." She gestured, and a floating hologram appeared above the table. It showed a long timeline filled with stars, battles, and ancient symbols. The Zinthari Empire is over 10,000 years old, she began. But we are not as strong as we once were. Many outer worlds have broken away. Others speak of rebellion. Our council is divided. Ronan listened carefully. A long time ago, the queen continued, a law was written. A prophecy, some say. It says that if a ruler joins with a being from a warring and wandering world, balance will return. Hologram shifted to a symbol, 2 figures standing together, light flowing between them. Your Earth is young, violent, yes, but clever, passionate, alive. Your kind fights, but also creates. You are unpredictable. Dr. Leon leaned toward Ronan and whispered, "She means all this seriously. This is not just a test or tradition." Ronan nodded slightly but stayed silent. "Many years ago," the queen said, "we sent scouts. They observed your world. We watched your people build ships, launch satellites, survive war and disaster. And we waited." She turned to Ronan. "Then you came, a warrior who no longer wants war. A man who seeks peace without losing his strength. You are the sign we have waited for." Ronan blinked. "You were watching me?" "We watch many. But you stood out." The room went quiet. Then one of the Zinthari nobles, a tall male with sharp green eyes, stood up. "Your Majesty," he said, "this is dangerous. The humans are still new to the stars. Their minds are unstable. Their culture is full of chaos." "And yet," the queen replied, "chaos is often the beginning of something new." Ronan finally spoke. "What would happen if I agreed? What does joining even mean?" The queen looked directly at him. You would become my consort, my partner. You would help guide our empire. Your voice would be heard in every council. Your people would become part of our future. Dr. Leon whispered, if you say yes, Earth could gain protection, technology, maybe even a seat in the Galactic Council. But Ronan wasn't thinking about politics. He was thinking about the Queen herself, about the way she looked at him. Not like a tool or symbol, but like someone real. And if I say no, he asked. Then nothing happens, the Queen said. You return to your world and we thank you for your time. That surprised him. No threats, no guilt, just choice. After the meeting, Ronan walked through the royal gardens alone. Flowers the size of umbrellas glowed softly under moonlight. He heard soft music in the air, maybe wind, maybe some alien bird. The Queen found him there. You don't have to answer yet, she said. It's not that simple, he replied. Where I come from, marriage means love, trust, a lifetime. The Queen looked up at the sky. In my culture, marriage is not only love, it is also duty, a promise. Sometimes love grows after the bond is made, sometimes not. But trust must always come first. Ronan sat on a smooth stone bench. You're risking a lot, aren't you? Choosing a human. The others don't like it. They will dislike whatever I do, she said. But I will not let fear decide for me. She walked closer. I do not ask you to love me now, Ronan Hale, only to believe that we might build something the galaxy has never seen. He looked into her moon-like eyes. There was no trick there, no hunger, just hope. Ronan stood slowly. You're not what I expected. Neither are you. They stood in silence, two very different beings from very different worlds. Then Ronan said, all right, I'll consider it, but I want to know more. About your people. About you. No royal games. No politics. The Queen smiled, a soft shimmer across her face. Then let the learning begin. 3 suns rose over the moon of Lir Shatai the next morning. Their golden light poured into the palace, painting the white stone with color. For most visitors, this would be a beautiful view. But for Ronan Hale, today was not about beauty. Today, his real test began. The Queen had told him the night before. Before any bond could be made between them, Ronan would need to pass the trials of compatibility, an ancient Zinthari tradition meant to test the mind, spirit, and strength of a potential ruler. No one has taken these trials in 500 years, she had said softly. But if you are to stand beside me, you must understand our ways. Ronan hadn't been surprised. No great power came without effort. But he hadn't expected the first trial to begin so soon. Trial 1. The mind Ronan was taken to the Hall of Echoes, a giant chamber built from crystal. It reflected not light but thought. He was told to sit in the center of the hall. Around him floated memory orbs, small, glowing spheres that hummed softly. Each orb contained a memory from a past Zinthari leader, some joyful, others dark and painful. The trial was simple. Touch the orbs, live the memories, and find the truth hidden inside them. Ronan reached for the first orb. As his fingers touched, the surface light flashed, and suddenly he was inside a memory. He stood in the body of an old Zinthari king. There was war. Fire rained from the sky. Panic in the streets. The king had to choose between saving his people or saving his own family. Ronan felt the fear, the weight, the pain of losing both. When the memory ended, he gasped for air. He touched the next orb. A queen choosing peace, even though her enemies mocked her. Another orb. An emperor sacrificing his future for the survival of another species. Each memory was a test. Could Ronan handle the emotions? Could he see the lesson? After 2 hours, he opened his eyes. The hall was quiet again. The orbs had dimmed. A voice echoed in the chamber. Your mind accepts our truth. You may proceed. Ronan stood up slowly, sweat on his face, but his heart steady. One trial down. Trial 2. The Spirit. The second trial was stranger. Ronan was taken deep underground to a quiet garden glowing with purple mist. In the center stood an ancient Zinthari elder, blind and floating slightly above the ground. "This is the trial of the Spirit," the queen explained. "You will not fight. You will share your deepest memory with the elder, and they will share theirs with you." Ronan nodded. He knelt in front of the elder and placed his hand on a smooth stone. Suddenly, his mind was open. He saw himself as a boy, watching Earth from space during his first mission, then a battle on Mars, fire, shouting, and the loss of 2 close friends. He felt the weight of his guilt, his loneliness after the war, the quiet silence of his return home, the long nights without sleep. The elder showed him their memory in Return, a world dying from disease, the loss of their twin, the pain of ruling alone for centuries. Ronan saw the elder's heart, a storm of sadness and wisdom. When the connection ended, both were quiet. The elder spoke with a trembling voice. "Your soul has seen pain, and still chooses peace. You may pass." Ronan bowed deeply. "Thank you." Trial 3. The Body. The last trial was held in the Arena of Winds, a massive circular space floating high above the city, surrounded by sharp currents of air. Here, Ronan would face a challenge of strength, not to win, but to endure. "You will face a warrior," the queen explained. "You must not kill, you must not surrender. Endure, and prove your strength is balanced with restraint." His opponent was a Zinthari fighter named Kelthra, tall, armored, and fast. Ronan had once been a soldier, but this would be different. No weapons, only skill and will. The gong sounded. Kelthra charged fast like wind on fire. Ronan dodged, rolled, blocked a strike. He didn't hit back with anger. He stayed calm, used his speed, not his rage. The crowd above watched in silence. Zinthari didn't cheer. They observed. After 15 minutes, Kelthra slowed. He nodded once and stepped back. "You could have hurt me," he said. "But you didn't." Ronan, breathing hard, replied, "I'm not here to hurt. I'm here to learn." Kelthra raised his arm in salute. "Then you have passed." After the trials that night, the queen invited Ronan to the royal garden. No guards, no politics, just the 2 of them under the stars. "You did well," she said. "Better than I expected." Ronan smiled. "I won't lie. That was harder than fighting in a war." "Because war is simple," she replied. "You follow orders, you survive. But these trials, they show who you really are." Ronan looked at her, truly seeing her now. Not just as a queen, but as someone who carried centuries of duty, of loneliness, of sacrifice. "You said you didn't want a slave," he said. "But I don't want to be a symbol either. If I join you, it's not for power or prophecy. It's because we can build something real." The queen stepped closer. "That is all I have ever wanted." The stars shimmered above them like a million tiny witnesses, and for the first time Ronan didn't feel like a visitor. He felt connected. The palace of Lir Shatai was quiet that night. Too quiet. After the trials, Ronan Hale had earned the respect of the Zinthari court. News of his success had spread through the empire. Some saw it as hope for unity. Others saw it as a threat. Ronan stood alone on the high balcony of the guest wing, looking out at the stars. The queen had promised him time to decide, but in truth his decision was already made. He believed in her. He believed in the possibility of something new, but not everyone wanted change. Inside the dark halls of the palace, a group of shadowed figures moved quietly. They wore cloaks made from reflective silk, bending light around their bodies. Zinthari assassins trained in silence. Their target, the human ambassador. One of them whispered, "He cannot become consort. He will weaken the bloodline. The queen is blinded by hope." Another hissed, "Tonight the prophecy ends." They crept closer. Ronan's instincts were sharp even after leaving the battlefield years ago. Something felt wrong. The air was too still. The wind carried no sound. No guards passed by, and the usual glowing lights in the garden had dimmed. He turned slowly. His hand moved to the small shock blade hidden inside his belt. Then, movement. Fast. Too fast. A cloaked figure leapt from the shadows. Ronan dodged just in time as a glowing blade sliced through the air where his neck had been. He rolled, drew his blade, and shouted, "Guards!" Another assassin landed behind him, striking low. Ronan blocked, his arm shaking from the impact. He wasn't alone for long. 2 royal guards arrived, but they were cut down in seconds by the assassin's strange curved weapons. Ronan's mind raced. These weren't thieves or rebels. These were trained killers, likely sent by someone high in the Zinthari court. He couldn't win by fighting alone, so he ran. Ronan sprinted down the hallway, turned a corner, and entered a side chamber. He sealed the door behind him and activated his emergency beacon. It sent a silent signal to Captain Juno, his security chief. He looked around. The room was full of old relics and tapestries, too small to hide but filled with sharp tools and ceremonial blades. He grabbed a curved staff from the wall and breathed hard. "Come on," he whispered to himself. "Don't die before making history." The door exploded inward. 3 assassins entered. Ronan fought with everything he had. He blocked, dodged, struck back. His shoulder burned. Blood ran down his arm. But he didn't give up. Then, another sound. The wall to the left opened and a figure stepped out. The Queen. She moved like a storm. Her body glowed brighter than ever. With a wave of her hand, a wave of energy blasted 2 of the assassins backward. The last one turned to attack her, but she caught the blade with her bare hand. Her skin flashed and the weapon melted into light. "You dare attack in my house?" Her voice thundered. The assassin fell to the floor, terrified. The Queen raised her hand, but Ronan stepped forward. "Wait," the Queen turned to him, surprised. "Let him live. Question him. We need to know who sent them." She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Guards rushed in seconds later, now fully alert. The remaining assassin was taken away in chains. Ronan sat down slowly, his leg bleeding. The Queen knelt beside him. "You are hurt." "I've had worse," he said, trying to smile. "You were supposed to be safe." "There's no such thing anymore," he said. "Not for you. Not for me." Later, in the royal healing chamber, Ronan rested while his wounds were treated. The Queen stood beside him, arms folded, silent. "They came from your court," Ronan said. "Didn't they?" "Yes," she said. "Some still believe in isolation, in old bloodlines. They fear the future I offer, the one you represent." "Then they'll try again," Ronan said. "Next time maybe they won't miss." The Queen sat beside him. For the first time he saw true fear in her glowing eyes. "I do not fear for me," she said. "I fear for you." "Then we face them together," he replied. "We don't hide." She looked at him for a long moment, then reached out and gently took his hand. "Will you still consider my proposal?" she asked quietly. "I don't need to consider anymore," Ronan said. He squeezed her hand gently. "My answer is yes." Her eyes glowed brighter, not from power, but from something deeper. Emotion. "Then let the galaxy prepare," she whispered. News spread quickly. Human ambassador accepts Zinthari Queen's proposal. A new era of peace? Or a mistake? Assassins failed, but who sent them? On both Earth and Zinthari worlds, debates exploded. Some cheered, some feared, but none could ignore it. History was changing, and in the center of it stood a human man and an alien queen. Both wounded, both brave, and both ready to rewrite the future. The great halls of Lir-Shatai were no longer quiet. They were alive, buzzing with activity, filled with light, and watched by every major star system in the galaxy. Thousands of ships floated in orbit above the moon, from sleek Zinthari Royal vessels to Earth's alliance cruisers, and even curious ships from neutral worlds. For the first time in history, the Zinthari Empire had invited all species, friend and rival, to witness something unthinkable. Human was about to marry the Zinthari queen. Ronan Hale stood in front of a mirror in a white and silver ceremonial uniform. It was simple, yet elegant, designed by both Earth and Zinthari artists. His old war scars were hidden beneath the fabric but not forgotten. He adjusted the collar, then turned as Captain Juno entered. "Crowd's getting bigger," she said with a grin. "You're going to be the most famous husband in the galaxy." "Great," Ronan replied with a dry chuckle. "I used to get nervous just speaking at Earth conferences." Juno walked over, serious now. "You're doing the right thing?" "It's not about right or wrong anymore," Ronan said. "It's about what's needed." She believes in something better. So do I. Juno smiled, then saluted him. "Then let's make history." Meanwhile, in the upper tower of the palace, Queen Azuri stood with her council. Her ceremonial robe flowed like liquid starlight, and her crown pulsed with soft light. She looked out over her city, her people. The trials were over. The danger had passed, but the future was still uncertain. "Some will never accept him," one of her advisors warned. "They will wait, watching, hoping he fails." Then, "Let them watch," Azuri said calmly. "Because he will not stand beneath me. He will stand beside me." The doors opened. It was time. The ceremony. The Grand Union Hall had never seen so many beings in one place. Zinthari nobles floated beside Earth diplomats. Alien ambassadors sat beside robotic envoys. Holograms displayed the event live across systems. The center of the hall was lit with glowing lines that formed ancient Zinthari symbols of balance and trust. Ronan entered from one side. The queen entered from the other. They met in the middle, eye to eye, calm and unshaken. A Zinthari elder stepped forward. He held a scroll thousands of years old, its writing glowing as he read aloud. "Two worlds, two minds, one bond, chosen, freely, one path forward, together." There were no rings in Zinthari tradition. Instead, both placed their hands on a crystal orb, which pulsed with light as it read their energy. When the orb turned white, the bond was complete. The hall erupted in music, not loud, not wild, but powerful. Deep, vibrating sounds filled the air, ancient and beautiful. The queen turned to Ronan and spoke, her voice strong. "Ronan Hale, warrior, peacemaker, partner, welcome." He looked at her, smiling. "Azuri, queen, teacher, light in the dark, thank you." After the ceremony, the galaxy reacted fast. On Earth, people cheered in public squares. In the colonies, schools paused classes to show the ceremony. Some were confused. Some were proud. Some, of course, were angry. But they all watched. And that meant the world had changed. Zinthari rebels who once plotted war now hesitated. Other empires that ignored humanity now opened communications. 100 smaller species who feared being crushed now saw a new possibility. One ambassador from a neutral system said it best. "If a human and a Zinthari queen can trust each other, maybe the rest of us can too." In the queen's garden. Later that night, the palace was quiet again. The stars returned to their calm watch above. Ronan and Azuri sat in the garden, just like the night after the trials. "Do you miss Earth already?" she asked gently. "A little," Ronan admitted. "But I don't feel far from it. I feel part of something bigger now." She nodded. "So do I." They walked slowly along the glowing trees, their steps in rhythm. No titles. Now just two souls, different but equal. "You know," Ronan said, "when you asked me that question the first time, I thought it was a trick." "I remember," she smiled. "You looked like you'd seen a ghost." He laughed. "I think I had. And now? Now I see someone brave enough to believe in the impossible." She looked up at the stars. "Then we are both dreamers." They sat on a bench beneath a glowing vine. She rested her hand gently on his. "This won't be easy," she said. "There will be pressure, attacks, doubt." "I know," Ronan said. "But I've learned something from all this." She turned to him, curious. "What?" "Hope," he said. "Hope is a fight worth choosing. The beginning of something." Knew the bond between a human and an alien queen was not the end of a story. It was the beginning of one. A new alliance formed, called the Unity Accord, with Earth and the Zinthari Empire at its center. Trade, knowledge, and culture began to flow between worlds once divided. New hybrid schools opened. Peace missions launched. Even former enemies came forward to talk. And far away, in secret corners of the galaxy, new threats watched with quiet interest, wondering what this strange new union would mean for the future. But Ronan and Azuri stood ready, together, not as ruler and subject, but as something rare, something powerful, something human.